Hello, I'm Arun Malhotra. Welcome to ETAuto Unplugged Season 3. In ETAuto Unplugged, we talk to industry leaders on various facets of the auto industry, the auto ecosystem. And we get deep perspective, deep insights, what's happening in industry, what has happened, what is happening, and the shape of things to come. One area which is fascinating about the auto industry is, which not many people talk of, and some people do talk of, is there are two customers as far as the manufacturer is concerned. One is clearly the first customer, which is the dealership. And the second customer is the final customer who purchases your vehicles or who utilizes your vehicles. And for this topic, I am joined by a person who's seen it once and all. He's been part of the auto industry for 3 decades. He's handled very diverse functions across companies, and he's a thought leader, opinion leader, and also a person well regarded and respected in the auto industry. I'm talking about nobody else than Mr. Hardeep Brar, who's the President and CEO of BMW India. Welcome, Hardeep.
Thank you, Mr. Malhotra, for having me here.
So, before we start, Hardeep, if there was one person who's called the Flying Sikh of India, is Milkha Singh, and there's one person flying Sikh of the auto industry, there can be nobody except Hardeep Brar, because he's a great marathon runner also.
Thank you.
So, Hardeep, before we start on this journey of customers, dealers, I wanted to know about your journey, right from school days to college days. Okay. How did you grow up?
Yeah, interesting. It will take me back to memory lanes. So I was born and raised in a place called Moga, and the claim to fame is the Nestle factory there, because that's the milk basket of Punjab.
And now the name to claim is also Hardeep Kaur.
Oh yes, Hardeep Kaur, and then Sonu Sood as well.
So the illustrious people from Moga.
That's right. Yes. Yeah. So I was born and raised in Moga, and surprisingly, while I stayed in one city, I changed 4 schools. Right?
That's surprising.
In the same city, you used to see that this school is good, and you would switch over to that school and then next. But I think it really helped. You met different set of people in different schools. Every school had a different style, and I think somewhere it really helped me. And then, and I was very much interested in sports, and somewhere I always felt that I will have a career in sports. So, but yes, I'm still running marathons, which is playing golf and a lot of other sports. So I think it continued, and I think it really helped, because when you are going out after your school, you are playing all the time, meeting different set of people, because you will practically play every sport, starting from cricket to hockey to football, kabaddi, and kho-kho, and all the sports which were prevalent at that point in time, and then badminton, basketball, volleyball. So practically there was no sport that I didn't play, because you will find kids playing all kind of sports. So I think that teamwork spirit really came from there, and which is very, very important in our corporate life. From there on, I moved to for my engineering in Thapar. I did my mechanical engineering from year 1990 to 1994, and so that was my initial journey. And my parents were always very, very motivating. I never ever remember when my parents told me to study or not to study or to go to play. But the only direction was come back before the sun sets. And otherwise there were no restrictions at all.
And after engineering, how did you choose auto industry?
Yeah, so very interesting. At that point in time, Maruti and Hindustan Motors were 2 companies which were very well regarded, but they were not coming to campuses, and they would go to IITs and would pick students from the campus. Or Maruti had an all-India test, whereby they will pick 45 engineers after written test and interview. So in 1994, when I passed out, I could clear the written test, but I couldn't clear the interview. But in 1995, I could clear both of them, and that's how I joined Maruti Suzuki.
I think one thing very interesting about you is, I remember, students, those who were bright those days, they were just focused on studies. Because that was the dictum of the Indian middle class. If your child is good in studies, let them focus, get into good engineering or a medical college or a safe career. How would you were able to combine academic brilliance, I would say academic excellence, along with sports? It's a very difficult thing to do.
So what I remember is the first thing after I would come from the school, would finish my work, and then I'm free. So it was not that sports would take, or rather I would try to finish everything in the school itself so that I have more time to play.
Time management was
yeah. In fact, I remember there was a student in our geography student, professor, teacher in our school, and he would say, if you have, this is what I'm going to teach in my class, and if you finish it first, you come to me, I'll ask you to write. If you can write, you don't need to attend my class. That was very unique, and I never attended his class.
That's unique. I mean, you know, how to combine different skill sets and different objectives and do it. And, you know, when I see you running marathons, how many marathons you run in a year?
Yeah. So now I'm running about 8 to 10 marathons a year. So I've just finished my 87th in about 14 years. So initial years I was taking it a bit light, but now I'm running practically during this season I am running at least 1 to 2 every month.
You know, that's interesting. When I talk to senior people in industry, they say this life is so hectic, high pressure, ki we don't have time for anything. And marathon is not a small time. It takes a lot of time, but that's great. You're doing your passion.
Yeah. So, you know, by 6 to 7 in the morning is my time. Nobody can disturb me during that, and that's the time when I do my practice. And if you do 6 to 7 every day, and then weekend, of course, you have a little more time. So about 10 hours into this sport really helps me to run
great.
well.
So you're a role model not only for the career for youngsters, but even how to, you know, pursue your interests and remain young and fit as you are able to do. I won't ask your age. I mean, people can guess from your engineering degree how old you are. Now coming to you joined the industry in 94, 95 and you were engineering graduate and you went to sales.
Yeah, that's right.
So that time engineering graduates most generally used to go to manufacturing, supply chain. How did you land up in sales?
Yeah, that's very interesting. So that 1 year before I joined Maruti, I was picked by a company called Pertec Computers Limited where they put me into institutional sales and I was based in Lucknow and I would go to all the corporates called RDSO and ITBHU, but I was an engineer at heart. And when Maruti asked for options, my first option was R&D, second was supply chain, and third was marketing and sales. But two of the MBAs, and Maruti used to recruit from IIMS and Accelerate, two of the MBAs didn't join from the campus, and they picked 2 engineers and put them.
Great, and rest is history.
Yes, that's right.
So you moved to the field in 95, which is there. Now, from that time, you're a young person, straight out of college, just 1 year experience. And then there was this market, Maruti Large, and then, you know, the dealerships and the customers. What was your first impression which you saw when you joined the industry? How did you, if you can reflect upon that time, how was the customer at that time from their mindset, psyche set, and how were the dealers at that time?
Yeah, I think a customer at that point in time was, you know, very, very price conscious. As you would know, the cars which we used to sell, they didn't have air conditioner, they didn't have power steering, which we can't think of. Not a music system, right? If you want, yes, you can get a music system fitted, but you can't get a power steering. Yes, and there was
mirrors, even left hand mirror, both mirrors or one mirror.
Yeah, mirror on the right side, and a slightly higher car would have mirror on both the sides. The bumpers were still not body colored, so the customer would want to pay a least price, but he would want a car, and at that time the car would cost about 2 lakh rupees, and the dealerships were very basic. You have a lot of everything was in registers. The computerization, while it started about 93, 94, but dealerships were not computerized. The infrastructure was very basic. There was nothing called corporate identity norms, and the main objective of the customer was to get 4 wheels so that he go from point A to point B.
So that was the scenario in 95.
Right.
And although liberalization in the economy had started by that
right,
time, which is there.
Yeah, but it was very early stage, and
it was early stage, and a lot of companies didn't come by that time. So across your journey, I mean, what are the functions you handled in the initial part of your career?
Yeah, quite interesting. So when I was in regional office, so while your main role is to do the dealer management, but at that point in time, we only had 3 area managers. The event management at a local level, the training, the government licensing, and for Maruti, since Maruti was in Gurgaon, so all the government licensing for the plant, etc. So there were all the functions that you see in head office were actually replicated in regional office, and you have to do practically everything. So that gave a lot of exposure.
You took the own initiative, or it was forced upon you?
Yeah, I took a lot of initiative, frankly, and which is why things kept coming my way, and it really helped me understand the different aspects of business, and which is why I moved to marketing after that, because I did a lot of events, and hence I moved to marketing role. Yeah, and in fact you were heading the marketing function at that point in time. So then I spent 2 years in event and corporate outdoors and motorsports. So a lot of stuff done during those 2 years, a lot of customer events. Then I moved back as a regional sales head in 2002. And then 2006, I moved to network, and that was the time the network expansion happened, and we took network from 300 to 1,200 in the span of 4 years. Then I did corporate sales, rural sales. And then post that, I did customer experience, training, dealer profitability. So practically, I think I would have touched upon all the functions.
One thing which comes out very clearly, and which is, I think, common across people who are high achievers, at least in the auto industry, one is they don't get fixed to one function. And this is my expertise, I will stick to it. You do different functions. And the second thing which you said in the beginning part, they go beyond the call of duty. Government license is not part of your job at all, in any sense.
Absolutely.
But you took it and you learned from it. So
Absolutely.
going beyond the call of duty and handling different diverse functions in different locations, that's a point which you took off. So this was done willingly, nobody was under pressure.
Of course. I was always excited to experiment with new things, and when you show initiative in an organization, I think a lot of things come your way, and that precisely happened with me.
Okay, let's get to the dealership piece. How has the dealerships changed? I mean, we'll close, say, 2-3 years before. What has been has there been an inflection point in changes in dealerships, the way dealerships operate, or it has been one steady journey?
I think somewhere in mid of 2000, that decade of 2000 is when, around 2005, 6, slightly earlier than that, between 2000 and 2005, I think everybody started realizing that you need to have an ambience which is much better, because a lot of other brands had come in, and automotive, I would say, was behind. Even it was lagging behind, and even when you go to buy a shirt, you will find these swanky stores, but automotive dealerships were far behind, and this was practically, even at that point in time, like today, this is the second biggest purchase for a consumer. And of course, consumer did give a feedback, but I think OEMs also realized that if we want to get this going and increase the volumes, the ambience of the dealership is very, very important. And that's when everybody started putting in a lot of focus. And that was the time then when infrastructure started improving.
And even on after-sales service.
Absolutely, both the places.
So this required investment. So was it done willingly by dealers, or there were a lot of coaxing, pushing?
Yeah, of course, the dealers were resistant because the return was coming, and they felt they don't need to invest; they can do without it. But of course, there were dealers who were progressive, and they said, okay, we want to make it better, because one was about the consumer, the second was about their image as well. So they felt that if we do it, it will be good for us as well as the consumers. And then you make case studies of these best dealers and of course the footfall increased, the conversions were better. And that's what you showcased as a best practice to the rest of the dealers, that see, this is what this dealer has done, and this is really helping him. And that's how, and of course, there was a bit of push as well. It's not that everything happens with a pull, wherein you push the dealers and you attached allocations / incentives to infrastructure. So a combination of push and pull really helped in improving the infra.
So one was the impact because of the external environment, which is beyond auto industry, then the internal dynamics of the industry, and the customers even changing. How did the customers change? You said at that time in 95, 96, price was a point, feature, what is average, what is my owning cost. When did the change started happening? How did it happen?
I think it was very gradual. If I say, it was an overnight thing, I think it would be wrong. So to give you an example, then air conditioners started becoming normal. I mean, nobody would buy a non-air conditioned car. And then came the power steering, right? And then power steering became common. So anything which was without power steering stopped selling. So over a period of time, consumers also started.
But why the air conditioner? Because at that time, when the air conditioner change came, only not more than 2 or 3% people had air conditioned houses.
That's right.
So how did the change come? Then in cars, you require so much air conditioners.
Yeah. So I think it was towards late 90s when people started realizing, because when that 15-20% customers have air conditioner, and you sit in their car and then you suddenly realize, wow, this is amazing, and Indian summers can be very, very harsh. So when people started traveling long distance, they felt, oh, it's very difficult. The air conditioners started coming to your home, so they felt why there should not be an air conditioner in the car. And when some of the variants had power steering, and then people started realizing, oh, this is so easy to maneuver. And then I think early 2000s, power steering also started becoming common. So it was a gradual progression. And then at that time, the colored bumpers started coming, and the colored mirror, the body colored mirrors also started. So, gradually, one by one, the features started getting added. And it all started from the top-end variant. So in the top-end variant, you will have a ABS and all those features.
And then these percolate down to the lower
percolating down, yeah.
India has a unique market. A lot of people say one is awareness of things you mentioned. Other is aspiration.
Yeah.
And third is affordability.
Yeah.
So where do these, as an engineer, where do three axes meet? Or do they meet, or they are parallel?
No, of course they meet, right? So one is the intent, the other is the money, right? If you don't have money and you have the intent, you still can't buy. But if you have money but don't have the intent, even still you can't buy. So aspiration and affordability go hand in hand. The higher the aspiration, and if your earning potential is higher, you will earn. So I was looking at the data. In 1995, the per capita GDP was $375 in India, which is almost close to 3,000 today. So it's almost like 8 times the GDP today, right? But have the car prices gone up by 8 times? No. Right? So your starting car price was 2 lakhs. Today, the starting price of the car is 4 lakhs, probably, and which will be better.
That's a good thing. I mean, the cars as affordability factor versus incomes have done much better.
Yeah. But coming to your point on aspiration, but the aspiration has grown. So while affordability has improved, but the aspiration has grown much higher, which is why you find the entry-level cars are still not doing great. So from affordability perspective, if it is 8 times and the car price is 2 times, one would expect that it should suddenly go tremendously high, but that's not the case. Now, where is the growth happening? Because at that time, the car industry was, in 95, was about 5 lakhs. Today it is, let's say, this year maybe may close at 4.5 million, so 9 times. So this is in line with the GDP growth. 8 times GDP growth, 9 times the volume of the cars. So it's growing, but not at the entry. Because of the aspiration have gone higher, and hence they start somewhere about, now while your starting price may be 4 lakhs, but the people who are consuming cars are starting from 6 or 7 lakhs. And hence the top is growing, but the entry is not growing.
There's also this concept of India which was there, those Nehru times or later times, socialist Raj. Save, conserve, don't spend money, don't flaunt money. That has also changed?
Yes, it has changed, but I would still say, not many people are, still people feel guilty, especially people who come from small town or middle class, low middle class. When they get money and they have to spend, they feel guilty while spending. So, so that's the mindset change we need.
So it's happening, but it's happening.
But it is happening slowly and gradually, because when you see your friends, your colleagues driving better cars, affording better homes, or affording better appliances, I think it rubs on others as well that, what will I do with this money? So our mindset, my generation mindset was, invest or save. Now, the next generation, it is going down from investing, saving to consumption. But when I look at my kids or the Gen Z, I think they are going to bring in the culture what the Western world has today. They are extreme.
Live life today.
Oh yeah, for them, live your life today. Yes, absolutely. Yes.
These are the dramatic changes happening, and there'll be changes across. Now, this entire debate about rural-urban divide. We say rural sale is this much. How was this divide before, and what is the divide now? And divide is need not be in terms of geographical location. Divide is in terms of mind, spending, habits. What was it before and what is it now?
A very interesting question. So I remember when we started opening rural outlets way back in early 2000 or mid 2000, the showrooms were smaller and there was no CI. And they would actually you can actually say, this is an urban outlet and this is a rural outlet. But then organizations started realizing, because as I gave an example, a store which is selling a shirt or apparels, etc. When you look at their stores in urban and rural, they were practically looked similar, right? And then the point was, if a consumer is going to buy a shirt and he's going to a very nice showroom, and when he comes to buy a car and the showroom is very average, how will he feel? And that's the realization that happened. And from the mid 2005, 6, the showrooms in the rural areas, while they were smaller because the volumes are less, but it was a miniature version of what is there in the urban market. And exactly,
not a poor man's cousin.
Absolutely not. The CI was absolutely the same. Some of the manufacturers adopted it, some of them didn't. But the manufacturers who adopted it, they started doing well. Some of the manufacturers said, okay, we'll just go with the showroom and not with the workshop. But the manufacturers who went with showroom plus workshop, a miniature version, I think they did extremely well, and hence, they are still having better volumes in the rural area.
Coming to dealerships, I mean, India is a diverse country, so obviously you cannot straitjacket dealerships in one category. But the mindset of dealerships, say 20 years back, and the mindset which is progressed with time, how has the mindset changed on an overall basis?
So as I said, the earlier mindset, while dealers were, I'm talking about again the 90s, beginning 90s or the late 90s, dealers were making money because the cars were on waiting, the discounts were minimal, some of the models were on waiting, they were making lots of money. But that mindset to invest was not there. And this is what started changing in 2000, mid 2000, when they also felt that, this is also our image. And also the consumer demand started demanding more and more. So I think as a combination, the mindset changed. They said, okay, we need to invest. We are making good money. And now let's start investing back into the infrastructure, in people, and processes, in systems. And that's where,
And when this change of owning the entire lifetime value of the customer, now you have used cars, you have financing, you have insurance, you have accessories. When did
this also started by Maruti in early 2000s when the new initiatives started. So there were 4 new initiatives which were started, and of course then all of them followed. So it was insurance, finance, leasing, and used car business. I remember it was in 2003 or 4 when all these initiatives were started, and then accessories became normal. Then the driving school also started.
But these initiatives were global also. I mean, they were.
Of course.
They took time to come to India.
So yes, it was a little late because dealers were making money, and
they didn't need to do that.
They didn't need to do that. And when the competition started in late 90s, then that's when OEMs, and because dealers were demanding more margins, and the OEM said, you have so many avenues, why don't you exploit that? And that's when they were formalized. And
so if you have to take a cricket parlance, now the whole fundamental of dealership profitability is you do bat 1 to number 9.
Yeah, that's right.
You can't depend on one batsman.
Absolutely. I think very, very good analogy that you have to squeeze every drop. Otherwise, you can't make money in the auto business.
Now, coming to dealerships, there were some big groups, no name mentioned, which used to dominate the auto industry. Today, they don't exist. Or they closed down or whatever happened. And there are some people who were nowhere in the industry and they are now big now. From your understanding of dealerships, what are 2-3 things which can make a dealer thrive or go up, and 2-3 things which make him absolutely slide down or he can dissipate itself?
I think the first one if I have to sum in one word, is an attitude. But the dealers who were small, they had this attitude of working hard, making sure they're taking care of people, they are taking care of customers. They are doing everything right, what is required to run a business. And if I have to look at the reason why people went down, one of the reasons is greed. Because, a lot of people had this, and in India, we have this real estate bubble or stock market bubble, which happens every now and then. And there are a lot of people who get greedy. And they start to invest into real estate, and then you see real estate crashing, and suddenly the entire working capital is sucked out of the business.
There's no much cash visible in the dealership,
that's
but
right.
the margin is limited, very limited.
That's right.
So you believe that cash can be diverted also.
That's right. So I would say the financial prudence has been a big miss amongst those dealers which were doing great, and today you can't see them anywhere.
Financial prudence is one thing.
Yeah, that's right. And the other side, when I said attitude, of course, with attitude, they had a very, very strong financial prudence as well.
So attitude would be, if you have an attitude positive, it will be with your employees also and with your customers also.
As well, yes.
If your attitude is negative or short term, then it will flow everywhere.
Yeah.
That's what the reason is, which is there.
Yeah.
Financial prudence is an important part.
And attitude also involves that, you are satisfied with what you have. And when you are growing with keeping financials in mind. It's not that you're going out of your means. Culture. Yeah, you are not going berserk suddenly, and because you're getting opportunities, you know how much you can chew, and accordingly you grow step by step, and not overnight you want to become the biggest dealer in the country.
So financial prudence and centricity on process system and customer and dealer and employee orientation. These are the things. Positively, they will help you grow, and negatively, they will go down. Or you become too greedy, as you said, and divert your money is part of it. We were talking about rural-urban divide, and you talked of the infrastructure.
Yeah.
But in the mindset of the customer, how is the mind of a rural customer today? If you are 20 years back, when you talk to a rural customer, and you've been to the ground level, and you talk to a rural customer now, what is the difference in the mindset? Income is the second part.
Yeah. See, there the decision still happens. So, for example, in urban, you will still find a lot of decisions get made on digital, right, on internet. You go into this, you look at comparisons, etc., and then you make up your mind that okay, these are the brand. Then you visit the dealership, and then you decide. In rural, still, I think the word of mouth still plays a very, very strong role because their replacement cycles are not as strong. The road infrastructure, while has improved a lot, is not still as good as when you go inside the rural areas. So for them, the durability, reliability, and what the rest of the people are talking about in the community. Even today, when a person goes to buy from a rural area, he will take 3 or 4 people along with him because they have enough time on hand.
So one is the affinity part. But initially, there used to be some, you could say, the conscious keepers of the rural, the patwaris or the mukhyas, who would tell you what to do.
Yeah.
That shackle is breaking.
That I think is broken. I don't think they are so much dependent on the because the awareness, because internet is now available everywhere. They also have access to information as fast as probably an urban customer has, and they also been consuming cars for more than 2 decades. So they also have a fairly good understanding of how different brands behave in their market. So they also have now good data points, I would say.
So they have a more diverse data points. They're not bogged down by their information system is a very important part.
But your point is right. Earlier, they would also look at Sarpanch, would go for consultation.
So the person who's the opinion maker of the village, he will have, he or she will guide that.
So today, those people will still make an impression about the car they are driving. The most affluent people in the town, in the village, what they are driving still matters, and people look up, oh, he's driving this car, and let me also try to bring in that car. So,
and the decision making within the family, has it changed dramatically? I mean, money may come from one point, the bread earner of the family.
So I think in India, still families are influencing the final decision. So if husband or wife, they have to buy a car, they will look at their kids. Earlier, it was much bigger. You will also consult your friends, your parents, and relatives who own the cars. But now with information availability on the net, even the children would do browsing, and they will tell their father that this is the car that you should buy, or they would know, because kids are very aware. They also talk about brands and cars, so they influence their parents.
So they are influencing the youngsters, even are influencing, and the wives or the women also have a large role to play in decision making.
Yeah. So which was earlier more about friends.
And has this changed in rural also, or no?
Yes, I think it has changed there as well, but I think it is more prevalent in urban that kids are influencing. There also, I think the awareness levels are still high, but I think there the decision, I would say in terms of communication, they are still a little bit more hierarchical, whereas urban is now more one-to-one.
So if you have to take the urban-rural divide, like they used to be saying, there used to be old Hindi film which are saying, "Gaon hamara, shahar tumhara," not a very hit film. But they used to be very parallel things. You think the gap has lowered now, the urban-rural divide in terms of marketing?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the way the world is flat now, as they say.
So flat is happening.
Flat is the word, because earlier, if I remember during our times, if the genes have started in 60s or 70s in the Western world, it will come in 90s in India.
And now
Today, whatever happens in the West happens at the same time in India or in the East, I would say. And the same thing has happened between urban and rural as well. What is happening in a bigger market is happening in the rural market. If a new car is launched in urban, the rural consumer has equal aspiration to own it. In fact, rather, I would say they've gone a step ahead. Because in urban areas now, it doesn't matter. You're not trying to show off to your neighbor that, this is my car. Or you don't have that one-upmanship in urban so much, which is still there in rural, where, they want to show that I'm still better than you. And hence, they get into this kind of war more than even the urban players.
So that's an important part, though.
Yeah.
The rural-urban, that divide is lowering down, which is there.
That's right.
Now coming to, say facilitators of sale like financing.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a generation which felt if you took loan, that means you didn't have money, you shouldn't spend. Why are you taking a loan? You should do your own thing.
I think this has completely changed. It was a taboo. I remember when I bought my first car, I had to pay 17-18%, and my parents said, "Why are you taking loan? You can take money from us." And I said, "No, it's fine. Let me buy it on my own." And but today the interest rates have also come, so that also are playing a big role. Now, when your interest rates are coming down from 15 to 7 or 8%. It doesn't hit you so much. When you have avenue to make more money on hand, you can make 15 to 16% on mutual funds, and you get your car loan on 7 to 8% or home loan at 8 to 9%. You would rather take a loan and make your money work harder and make more money on the money you have than to pay.
So that's a very interesting insight.
Yeah.
Today, to owning a car which was there, I mean, is that part of it.
Yeah.
How is this used car market? Is this now growing, or what is it happening? Is it more organized now?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it is far more organized. Now it is almost 1.5 times. I think 10 years back it was almost 1:1. Now it is almost 1.5 times. I think it should be anywhere between 6 to 7 million used cars every year. And I think the organized sector would be about 20% on.
And that's
still,
also growing.
Yeah, that's also growing. It is slowly growing, because still in India, the way our society is, we still tend to find a friend who would like to buy your car, or friend's friend, and you first inform in your circle that you're wanting to sell your car rather than going to a broker. You go to a broker or used car player only when you find that your car is not being sold.
Now coming to, our industry is a very manpower-intensive industry, and the number of people employed isn't going down. I mean, at the dealerships even, if you look at it. So, the profile of the persons who are working in dealership, whether in terms of age, whether in terms of their sex, male or female, is it changing?
Yes, I think it has changed a lot. Earlier, a simple graduate, or even I remember who have just done past 10th or 11th, you will find at the dealership, because it was more about delivering the car, not about selling the car. But over a period of time, you find now graduates coming, and now you can even see, in the premium side of the spectrum, the young MBAs and who have done MBA and good graduation from good colleges, they also don't mind moving into dealership. In fact, a lot of OEM employees also move to dealership.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, that is another change which has happened, because dealership groups are now big. They are
also being corporatized.
Yeah, that's right. There are some big dealer groups, and they are also moving towards corporatization, and hence their perks and the policies are as good as OEMs. And of course, you get a little more freedom to operate there as well. So there are a lot of people moving from OEMs to dealerships as well.
Now, there's a very sensitive relationship, and which is discussed a lot, between dealer and the manufacturer.
Yeah.
And then there is between dealer and the customer. Ultimately, dealer is your bridge between you and your customer. 95% sales happen through that. So there are two schools of thought. And one is the my baap syndrome. Manufacturer is the my baap. So whatever they say, dealers have to follow, whether they like it or not, follow blindly. Other is, they are also in consultation, they are consulted, but the final decision is taken by the manufacturer. Third is, it's a very participative approach. So is the dynamics changing or what is it happening?
Yeah, I think over a period of time, it's becoming more equal, I would say. I may not say that it is still equal, but I think it is far better than what it was earlier. So dealers have a bigger say in decision makings, in policy makings in the organization.
Why is this happening?
Because I think it is good because when you consult each other, because dealer ultimately is the person who's interacting with the consumer, and why we are doing everything is for our consumers. If consumer likes it, it's a hit. If he doesn't like it, it's a big miss. And dealers are the ones who are really interacting with the consumers. So to listen to their viewpoint, if you take decision listening to them, I think it is far better. So I would say a positive discussion is always better than one-sided decision, because sometimes, in headquarters you may feel, this is what happens based on your past experience. But things are so dynamic today, the customer is changing, and hence to keep up pace with them, you need to visit dealers, have interaction with the dealers, have interaction with the employees to make sure the decision that you are making is not based on your past experience, but based on what is really happening in the market.
Hardeep, I've known you for years, and I know you're a person who's a very good, you can assimilate a listener, you take people along. But there will be a mindset a company may have, keep it involved. But ultimately, the number of people who deal with dealers at various levels are many.
Yeah.
So how does that culture permeate? Because a lot of people say, "Sir, I hear this line, sir, वो तो ठीक है, पर sir नीचे ground level कुछ और ही होता है." So that's a typical term which I hear from dealers. कि it's there in principle, it happens well, but when you go to it still happens that way. So how do you change that culture?
Yeah.
Or is it a perception or is it a reality?
No, there are certain issues as well. I won't say everything is hunky-dory and everything is perfect. You need to keep on percolating down your thought process down to the last person who's interacting with them, and which is why your visit to dealerships and interaction with the dealership is very, very important, so that you get a first-hand feedback. You also get a chance to listen to what dealers are saying, whether they have any issues in terms of operations or not. So, and also you have to see the person who's doing this, is it an intent issue or this is an understanding issue? And you need to make sure that you are training your manpower accordingly, and you are deciding, and the important thing in that is what are the guiding principle of operations when you're working with a partner. I think, we talk about, the respect is very important. Of course, there would be differences, but you have to solve these differences through communication and not by, pushing each other. So I think when you have these fundamentals clearly laid out to your teams and also to the dealers, because sometimes the pressure could be from the other side.
There will be
as well.
pressures there.
Yeah, because for the newcomers who do not understand the business, the pressure could be from the other side, from a dealer who has 30 years of experience. So both way the pull and push happens. But once you make the fundamentals clear that these are the guiding principles based on which you need to work, I think it solves a lot of problems.
A lot of people say, the one view was of the older type generation, or even people some now, that if you listen too much to dealers, they will talk of their interest, your customer interest, your sales interest will get sidelined. So how do you balance the two?
Yeah, so so having been in the industry for a long time, you understand, what is, so let's see, what do we want, all of us? A corporate wants to make money, dealer wants to make money, and customer wants a great experience and a great value for money. And if you keep these three fundamentals in time, so if dealer is making money and you are not making money, and then you have discussion that, or there could be vice versa, then you need to look at why dealer is not making money. Where is the issue? Is it the volume is an issue, or the margins is an issue? And when you have a dialogue, and when you have an authentic dialogue between the two, and where you go with a mindset, it's a win-win. Because if dealer loses, the company will lose. If company loses, the dealer will also lose. When you have this winning mindset and you have a mutual respect and trust, I think everything gets solved. And that is the most fundamental thing to solve first before you get into a dialogue.
One thing which some dealers say is that processes are good.
Yeah.
But sometimes the processes are so sharply laid down manufacturer, the scope for individuality or innovation or flexibility is very limited. It is too much of micromanagement.
Yeah.
Intent may be honorable,
Yeah.
but they say we will stifled.
Yeah.
So how do you balance? You need a process orientation because company has to, and then you need also dealers' own individuality, own innovation to also flower. How do you manage the two? Because This is one complaint or this is one feedback which comes across.
No, I think that's a fair point because, to give you an example, a very small example. So I remember in one of the brands that I worked with, you put the brand color was black and you said, okay, we want to put a black color at the time of unveiling because that's our brand color. But when you go to that city, they say, black is considered inauspicious. Why are you giving me delivery in a black this thing? So you have to respect the local nuances there and make sure if you get stuck here, it will. So why a process is made? Processes are made to make sure that everything goes smooth and you don't have to really think about it. But if any process is becoming a deterrent, now this is where the dealer and the sales team on ground has to decide, and this is the freedom that you should give to them to make sure that these few changes that they need to make at a local level, they should be able to make, and you should not be too stuck up on that. Because if it is not, the objective of the processes is to solve customer problems.
That's
and if
right.
it is
to solve customer problems and enhances delight.
enhances experience. If it is becoming a bottleneck, you have to remove it, even if it is for one of the markets.
Even if it's one of the markets. So you need to have that adaptability and flexibility which is there. Now coming to customers which are we are talking of, there's a saying that today there is so much fascination on technology and gizmos that it sometimes takes precedence over the performance of the vehicle. Is that so? Because they say sunroofs now become a hit thing. In India's environment of temperature, dust, and the pollution, but sunroofs are going so. How is this happening? There's too much fascination on gizmos, or you can say certain features. So is this, or manufacturers say, okay, whatever customer wants, we'll give, which you should give logically.
You're right. I think over a period of time also between OEMs, the differentiation in terms of driving dynamics, it's kind of reduced, narrowed down so much that people feel, oh, almost every car is the same, and they're all big brands, multinational brands. And when they drive, they find, oh, this is fine.
You can't create differentiation, you can't find out.
Yeah, beyond that, they want, how they want to differentiate is, what are the extra features which are there, right? Whether you have a sunroof, whether you have Apple CarPlay, or you have that screen, and then you have mood lights, and so on and so forth. So you're right, the features are taking precedence.
Bells and whistles are
taking.
So one is actual quality and one is perceived quality, which may enhance the experience, but they are a part of it.
That's right. Yeah, so but they also, as I said, this has become more of a hygiene. If they know this OEM is not providing good quality, it automatically goes down.
Okay, so it's not that. I mean, you can't. I mean, you have to provide that good quality experience across the thing. Now, coming to customers who are looking at, you talked of technology, but environment friendliness. A lot of norms, whether they are safety, seat belts, airbags, speed sensors, they're driven by regulations. So, from your perspective, if suppose government had not driven this regulation, does the customer really want it, or does he give importance to it?
See, we have customers of all kinds in India, right? And there would be customers, and for example, I gave you example of how starting with maybe 5% of air conditioner, it became 100%. From 5% of power steering, it became 100%. Because over a period of time, people starts appreciating it. There was discussion about five-star rating about 5 to 6 years back. And now you can see everybody is moving. While this is not mandated, government is recommending, but they're not mandating, right? But the players have started feeling that consumer wants it. So, and they are willing to pay price for that. And when you see customer is actually willing to pay price and you can actually afford that in your car, I think OEMs are moving in that direction. Today's, again, 4-5 years back, airbags was not standard at the base trim. Now practically every OEM has 6 airbags in the standard. ABS, EBD was not existing. Now starting from the base variant, you are providing all the features.
So it's a question of regulation and something customers also made the regulation. Sometimes there's a peer pressure also acting, and that's happening.
And if you want to be ahead of time and you want to surprise the customer with a future, you have to think proactively and say, okay, guys, this is the first time I'm bringing this feature to India. And then customers say, wow, I want this feature. So if you want to really attract the consumer, you also have to up your game.
So you moved as MD President of BMW, and just I want to ask you about the company. But based on experience, not that you're not handling customers over high price, but obviously when you move to luxury brands, cars, it's a different. So what are 2-3 things which a luxury customer for a buyer is different? And what you thought, sometimes there's a perception luxury buyer is like this. It's, hey, he's like this, but he's also like this. So what are things which you knew, and what are things which are different against the standardized reality?
So I would sum it up in one word: it's the experience. When I look at mass market, people are quite focused on the product. Experience, of course, they want, but the ratio of experience and product is very skewed. Product takes the big precedence over experience. If they like the product, it doesn't matter, even if the showroom is not good and a little bit downgraded, they don't mind going for that. In luxury, experience is very, very critical. It's not only the experience at the time of buying, even not during the servicing, the general experience. So for example, we do a lot of these golf events, right? Customer wants to be part of this golf event. We do these art fair. I think you summed it up well. They want to be part of these lifestyle events, which we are doing. We are doing a vintage rally. We are doing golf events. We are doing art fair. We are doing a lot of these small musical nights. We are doing these long distance travels. So all of this is loved by this customer, which is completely missing in the mass market.
So one is, if you buy a luxury car of 80 lakhs, you have to have money. So that let's go, the person who's buying 80 lakh plus or 70 lakh plus has his money. But now coming to the demographic profile and the social profile, what are the various segments emerging from a customer perspective, which are something you're watching?
I think one of the, we have this startup culture in India. I think that consumer is he's young and he wants everything in his car. And
younger customer.
A younger customer. And not only car, he wants a brand. He wants to be associated with a brand. He wants to inform the world that I have arrived at a very, very young age. And these are the consumers who are, really upgrading to premium and luxury at a
What about small towns?
Even in small towns, you may not have startups, but you have these small businesses. While startup is a very fancy term, it's actually a business.
Starting a business.
Yeah, but most of the startups in urban are more tech oriented. There's something to do with the tech, and whereas in rural markets, so when I go back to my hometown, I would find a lot of these McDonald's and Burger Kings, and and everybody is upgrading their homes. So you will see a lot of tile stores, home accessories, etc., etc. So from those towns' perspective, because people are becoming aspirational, and they are making good money, because people are now even smaller towns making big homes, and which are as good as what you have in urban areas. And all these vendors are making good money, and they also want to show to the world that
customer is more diverse.
Yes.
It makes the task slightly more difficult. It's, initially the image was a CEO sitting, he's a luxury car buyer. It's not that way now.
No.
It's diverse segments.
That's right.
Startups are there, small towns are there.
Small businessmen.
Yeah. 2-3 things which are common, irrespective whether you are buying a 6 lakh car or a 1 crore car, which you find in a customer. Which is constant.
I think you asked me earlier, everybody wants more and more features. Right? Everybody wants the entire bells and whistles in their cars, and they don't want to compromise. It's not about that,
more.
Yeah, it's not that you have a 3-liter engine. So premium luxury, you have bigger engines, far more power, and the suspension, the body strength, the engineering is far superior in the premium and luxury, right? But even that customer wants and comes and he says, I want this feature, and they want everything in their car.
Now we are coming to the ending part of it. I won't call it rapid fire. 2-3 things which you will tell company young executives when they are dealing with dealers, what they should do, which they are probably doing less, or they should do more.
I think empathy and listening is very, very critical. You should listen and look at it from his viewpoint, that why is he saying this, right? And I'm not saying you should always say yes, you should critically evaluate the feedback. If it makes sense, you must accept it. And if it doesn't make sense, you must communicate to him that why it is
so
not.
You have to explain. You can't be
So I keep coming back to communication and being authentic and genuine about what your feelings are, without having any hidden agendas. I think if you keep the communication open and being very, very genuine about explaining the reason, I think everybody understands.
And if you were to advise, I won't say advice, if you were to tell dealers, if they do this, manufacturers will be more proactive towards them.
I think everybody, I think everywhere we talk a lot about business performance. I think if you take care of the customers, everything else follows. Whether it is in sales, when you take care of the customer, you're doing things what customer wants and taking care of them, it automatically follows. So for me, if you take care of the customers and as a result of which you are doing everything, you're hitting your numbers, etc., I think you have won over the OEM.
Now, we say that whatever customer is the my baap final thing.
Yeah.
But 2-3 things you would like to tell customers for their benefit, which they should do better.
Okay, so this is another. I get a call from many friends. Okay, can you tell me which is the best car, right? And it's very difficult. What I tell them is that you should go and drive the car because all the cars are very good, right? So for example, if you have to buy a shoe, so your foot may be slightly wider in the front, and you may need a slightly wider space in the front of the foot. So all the shoes are great, but the one which fits your foot the best is the one which you will buy it. So similarly, when you sit in a car, you find, oh, this bonnet is slightly high. Oh, here I'm sitting a little low. I'm not able to see the car. And then you find that, I can put my hand here. So when you drive the car, that's what you should, and you get a great feeling, that's what you should buy rather than going by, because practically everybody's features, value addition is more or less, it's become a very competitive market. Nobody wants to overprice it. So you should actually feel the car before you really go and buy it.
One view obviously goes, customer centricity is important. You have to look after customers, resolve their problems, delight them. But there is a certain set of, a very minority customer who create so much noise and tries to blackmail the company or the dealer, and the time spent on them is disproportionate at the cost. How do you handle that sort of thing?
Yeah. So to me, you have to make a very clear process, because it should not happen, because when you are doing extra favor to this customer because he is complaining, you are doing injustice to rest of the customer who are being nice to you. So you need to have a very clear-cut process for that if this is happening, I will do this. If this happens, I will do this. And even if then customer comes and escalates, and there are customers who tend to escalate to me, to headquarters, and then the team below feels under pressure. So my point is, guys, make a process. If it falls within that, please take care of that. But you don't have to go overboard, because it sets wrong precedents at the dealership, in the team, and you are actually not doing injustice to the rest of the customers.
So last question is for young professionals who are in industry. Who are coming. You're a person who's achieved a lot, they will see. And they believe everything is not hunky-dory. I'm sure there's a lot of sweat and touch. 3 things which you'd like to tell them. Focus on these 3 things. 3 enablers or 3 top enablers which will help you in your career.
Yeah, so I use this quote so when I went as a management trainee in Maruti, Mr. Bhargav told, he made this pyramid of growth is what I call it. So at the bottom of pyramid is knowledge, and then is skill, then attitude and integrity, right? And he said, attitude and integrity are absolutely essential. Even if you're a little bit weak on your knowledge and skill, it will be compensated by attitude and integrity. And if you are great in all 4, it is a super lethal combination. If you are upping your knowledge, you are upping your skill, and you have a great attitude, and you are very high on integrity, I think it's a lethal combination, and I think that's what I would.
And that's where everybody should work on. You can't ignore one at the cost of the other.
Yes, absolutely.
All 4 are important.
Yeah. So it is K multiplied by S multiplied by A multiplied by I. It is a multiplier effect.
Multiplier effect.
It is not plus. It is not plus. It is a multiplier.
So you talked of first was skills. You talked of knowledge. Then you talked of attitude, and you talked of integrity. So that's the combination. If you practice it, it has a virtuous cycle which leads you forward.
Absolutely.
So great, Hardeep, great talking to you and getting an insight of the dealership world, insight of the market is changing, insight of the customer, and insight for young professionals. So pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you.
Thank you.